Hi, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. Have you ever been in a mood where you just want a book that's gonna rip your heart out? Have you ever been in a mood where you just need a really good cry? If so, this video is for you, because today I'm talking about the horror books that have ripped my heart out. The ones that have left me completely devastated, that have tugged at my heartstrings, the ones that have just really made me feel very deeply. And for me, that doesn't happen very often. I'm not somebody that cries very easily. I'm not somebody that has, super strong emotions. I'm not somebody that likes to show vulnerability. And, I've gotten better at that as I've gotten older. I've gotten a little bit, better at showing emotion, not hiding it so much. But, it's just, it takes a lot to make me feel that strongly. So for a horror book, or any book for that matter, to evoke that strong of emotion in me, that says a lot. And there are only 5 books that have ever done that to me. And we're going to talk about them. I'm going to rank these in order of emotional damage, from Minimal Casualties all the way to my top, which is this book personally attacked me. So let's get into it. At number 5, Minimal Casualties, we have Stirring the Sheets by Chad Lutzke. This is one that I read very recently. Actually, I just finished this, so you haven't heard me talk about it yet. And this book was actually one that I heard Cliff with Cliff's Dark Gems review, and I've wanted to read it ever since I heard his review because it sounded really good. And I very much enjoyed it. This is a grief horror, and it's about an elderly man who is a mortician. And so he's around death all day long. Not only that, he lost his wife a little over a year before, and he's been grieving her ever since. They've been married a very long time, and he's kind of lost without her. He was very much used to having her around all the time, and he's grieving her. He misses her very deeply. Well, one day this body comes into where he works. Like I say, he's a mortician, so this body comes in. It's a woman in her 30s, and she shares a striking resemblance to his wife in her younger years. And he gets this idea to take the body home. It's not what you think. It's not what you think. He misses having his wife there. He misses having her in the bed beside him, and just having her company. He just misses just having a body there. You know what I mean? Just having her body there. He just misses her. So yeah, there's not a lot I can say about this book without giving spoilers, so I can't say too much more about the plot. It's a pretty short book. You can read it pretty much in one sitting. The main character is very lovable. I wanted to reach into the book and give him a hug. I really did. He's the sweetest. I felt so bad for him. This book is about grief. It is very much about grief, but it's also about getting older. It's about coming to terms with getting older. And there's more to it than that, but I can't say anything more. But I did shed a few tears. This didn't knock me off my feet as badly as some of the other ones did, but it will pull at your heartstrings. If you've ever loved someone, and especially if you've ever lost someone, it will tug at your heartstrings. You'll feel for the main character for sure. And while this was a sad book, it was a morbid little book, and sad. It did have some lighthearted moments as well, and it was really good, very well written, and I really enjoyed it. At number 4, Mild Chaos, we have Boy's Life by Robert McCammon. I read this book for Old School April, so you heard me talk about it not too awful long ago, and this made it into my top 10 books of all time. I consider this a masterpiece. I consider it an absolute masterpiece. It's so well written. The characters are all very well developed. One day, this man and his son witness this car plunge into the river. And the dad attempts to save the man who was driving the car. Well, it's discovered very quickly that this man was actually murdered. This was no accident. And it changes the man's life forever. Like the dad who tried to save him, it changes his life forever. Like he has changed because of this. Obviously, it was pretty horrific. It was something crazy to witness. And so he's changed over it. Not just that, but the entire town is going through this thing because it's a small town and everybody gossips. It's a big mystery. Nobody knows who did it. Nobody knows what exactly happened aside from it was a murder. So it's a whole thing. Well, you know, the son of the dad who tried to save the guy, you know, he's there and he sees what all his dad's going through, and you know, he of course heard about this murder and all these things. He and his friends are trying to figure out what happened and everything too. And it's this whole crazy mystery, and that sets the chain of events through the whole book, and that's the basis for that's the mystery that the whole book is set on. There's a lot more to it than that though. But really this book, it's a coming of age story. I don't know that it's considered horror, but I don't know that I would necessarily really call this horror, even though there are some horror elements in it. This is a coming of age story. These boys are probably around the age of 12, I think. But this is really it's about growing up. It's about realizing that things aren't as innocent as they seem. Life isn't as innocent as it seems. People aren't as innocent as they seem. You know, the world is scary. There's this whole big scary world out there, and these boys are learning that. But so many crazy things happen in this story. So many wild and crazy things, and there were so many crazy scenes. There were some that were really hilarious. Even there were some that were just crazy. And I'm gonna link my video down below where I originally talked about this. I really go into more depth. It's a vlog, but it has timestamps. You can click to the spots where I talk about this book. But yeah, I loved it. I was really invested in the characters. I was really invested in the plot. I couldn't stop reading it. And there were several scenes in here that had me completely devastated and had me crying like a little baby. I was like completely wrecked. Any book that can have me that invested in the characters and the plot definitely deserves a spot on my top 10 list. This was so well written, and the way things came, you know, together in full circle was it was so well done. Definitely deserves your time and attention. It's great. If you love coming of age stories, I think you should definitely read it. It was very well done. At number 3, which is Collateral Damage, is gonna be The Green Mile by Stephen King. Now, this one I haven't read in years. I read this when I was in high school, and I'm now 39. So it tells you it's been a hot minute. But a cool thing about it is that it has stuck with me all this time. I still remember exactly how I felt. I still remember the storyline. I still remember everything about this book. But I was in high school. Back then, I really didn't show vulnerability. I really had a heart of stone. I've been compared to the Tin Man a time or two. But I remember being in my room and could not stop reading this book, and I just was like really flipping through pages, and I was losing sleep over this book because I didn't want to put it down. And I also remember being a blubbering, bawling mess, and just, red-faced, crying, and just being like, please don't let Dad like knock on my door, come in here and see me like this, because I just did not want him to see me like being that much of a mess. I didn't want anybody to see me like showing any kind of vulnerability back then. But I was just a mess. I feel like everybody at this point knows what this book is about. But when I read this, it was my very first ever adult horror book, ever. I'd never read one. At that point, I'd only ever read like R.L. Stine and stuff. I'd never read an adult horror. And I read this like in early high. I think I was like a freshman. And I was freaking hooked. This introduced me to this whole new world. it's the first time I ever realized that a book could evoke strong emotion. I didn't know that until then. I had never experienced that. I'd never felt it. And I mean, it completely wrecked me. It wrecked me. And as soon as I finished it, I absolutely had to go watch the movie. But I mean, this, you know, there's commentary on the criminal justice system. There's commentary on like the racism. There's commentary on retribution. And I mean, there's so much more to this. It's been a while since I've read it, but these are things that I remember. There's so much more to this than that. It's something that I feel like everybody should read this. Like everybody, I mean, it's so well done. I know this is originally like a series, but I had the book that had the whole set in one big fat book, and I read the whole thing. I want to say in a couple days because, like I said, I was losing sleep to read it. So good. The movie too. This is probably the best book to movie adaptation I still have ever watched. The casting was excellent. It was perfection. They stuck to the plot. It was just so freaking good. I haven't seen the movie since, actually. I've only watched it that one time, but again, it stuck with me. It stuck with me this whole time. And I was a blubbering mess after the movie too. It got me as well. So, very well done. At number 2, we have Total Meltdown. And that is going to be The Summer That Melted Everything by Tiffany McDaniel. I read this one back in the summertime. You may have heard me mention it. This one is, I did not expect what I got out of this book at all. I didn't know what to expect. I hadn't heard anybody talk about it. But yeah, this was deep. This was a very deep book. This one is set in a small town in Ohio. It's a very religious town and a very superstitious town as well. Well, the Bliss family, there's the Bliss family, the dad of the Bliss family, his name's Autopsy. Yes, that's his real name, and it is wild. But he puts an ad in the paper inviting the devil to the town. And I can't remember what possessed him to do this. I wish I could. But he invites the devil to the town. Well, fast forward a few days, and this little boy shows up, 13-year-old little boy. And the son of the Autopsy family, I can't remember his name. The son of the Autopsy family is the one that comes across the little boy. And he talks to him and everything, and he realizes that this little boy says he's the devil and says he's there because of the ad. And he says his name is Saul. So the kid takes Saul to his family and says, "Hey, Dad, remember when you put the ad in the paper inviting the devil? Well, guess what? He's here, and his name is Saul." So the Bliss family is actually a very sweet family. They're actually very nice, and they invite Saul into their home. They're like, "Oh, poor kid, he's probably a runaway. You know, we need to take care of him. We need to bring him in." And, you know, of course, they try to find his family and everything. It's the whole thing. Well, Saul, aside from saying that he's the devil, is actually a very interesting, very smart, and pretty well-mannered, sweet kid. But there's a few things that happens when Saul shows up. And one, when he shows up, a heat wave shows up too, and it's a very intense heat wave. Another thing, a bunch of accidents start happening in the town. Like pretty crazy, kind of bad accidents. Another thing, the town is pretty racist, and Saul is a black kid. He's about 13 years old. So all these things don't equal anything good. And, you know, he brings out the worst in people, but what brings out the even worst in people is fear. Everybody's scared. Everybody's freaking out. And, yeah, this book tackles some really big themes. This book tackles some really big topics, but it does so really beautifully. It's very gorgeously written. There are a lot of really great quotes in here. And I did not expect what I got. It is so pretty. It's so, so pretty. Some of the themes in here are family, loneliness, death, love, loss, racism, of course, religion, hate. We have homophobia. We have, because it was set in like the 80s during like the AIDS epidemic, so we deal with that. But it deals with all these pretty big topics, and it does so really well. Another thing, it's got dual timeline, because the narrator is talking about now, like it's like the present, and then he's also going back in time to the 80s where he's talking about what happened with Saul and what happened when the devil came to town. So, but let me tell you, the dual timelines, I've never seen it done so seamlessly ever. It is done so smoothly. I've never ever seen an author do it better as far as the dual timelines. It's done so well. And I'm telling you, if you read this book, it's gonna change the way you look at life and death. It just is. There's something about it, like, I can't say why or how, but it will. I feel like this book changed me, and it changed the way I look at things. It really genuinely did. It also does a really cool thing with colors. Like, there's a lot of really cool symbolism and imagery involving colors that's just brilliant. But let me tell you though, this one absolutely ripped my freaking heart out, left me completely wrecked, to the point that I couldn't read another book for a few days. Like, I had to take a break. Like, it absolutely, it destroyed me. Absolutely destroyed me. I was messed up for a while. It messed me up. This is also a coming of age story, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. This is also a coming of age story as well. But yeah, this one, let me tell you, be prepared, have the tissues ready, maybe some chocolate, I don't know, whatever you need, and be prepared, because this one, like, will get you unless you just have a heart of stone. Unless you are literally the Tin Man, you're gonna need the tissues, because this one absolutely freaking destroyed me. Like, I was a mess. I was a freaking mess when I read this book. I won't tell you when, I won't tell you how, I can't tell you anything else, but just know that, just be prepared. Unless you are literally the Tin Man, just be prepared, because it will get you. Finally, at the #1 spot, at this book personally attacked me, that is Any Man by Amber Tamblyn. Now, some of y'all might be like, how is that #1? This other one should be #1 or whatever. Let me explain. This one felt very personal. It just did. There's something about this. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it's about, because it could be triggering. I'll let you look it up if you want to. The vague thing that this is about, the vague synopsis of this, is that this is about a woman who is preying on men. So it's kind of flipping the script, and it's making men the victims. That's all I'll say. You can look it up for yourself if you want to know more about it. But you're getting the point of view of the men and how they're handling the aftermath of it, how they're handling their trauma. And it's brutal. It's very raw. It's very vulnerable, real. It just feels very real. And an important thing to note is how everybody handles trauma differently. And that's something that is very important. And really, I think everybody should read this book. I don't care, man, woman, everybody needs to read this book if they can stomach it. If you can't handle it, don't read it. By all means, like, if it's something that's going to be traumatic for you, if it's something that's going to be triggering for you, do not read it. Because let me tell you, I thought I was ready for this book. I was prepared for this book. I knew what this book was about, and I still wasn't ready. I had to take breaks. So yeah, while I do think it's important subject matter, while I do think it's important for people to read it, doesn't mean you have to read it. Doesn't mean, like, like I said, it could be triggering. But how Amber Tamblyn takes this tough of a subject matter and wrote it so beautifully and so poetically is amazing to me. It is just so beautiful. like I was saying before about how every person handles trauma differently. One person handles it by shutting himself away. Another person handles it by like, he was so worried about like, how are my kids gonna handle this? Like he was worried about everybody else but himself. He was worried about his kids. Like, what's this gonna do to them? Another person handles it with like humor. He's laughing. He's like making jokes, which goes to show like, just because somebody is laughing does not mean they're not going through something. Does not mean that they're not having a hard time. Another thing is like, this goes into how often this thing doesn't get reported. How often it doesn't get reported, and why it doesn't get reported. It's because, you know, how often it's mishandled by the media, and how often it's mishandled sometimes by like, I've seen this mishandled by law enforcement, not intentionally, but just because sometimes they just don't know how to handle it, or it's a really tough thing to handle. You know, just maybe more training needs to be had or whatever. I've never seen it mishandled on purpose, but you know, just like, it's just a really tough thing to handle. But by media, I've seen it mishandled so many times. Like just stupidly mishandled. And that's just because they're insensitive. But it goes into why so often it doesn't get reported. And, you know, there's so much important commentary in here, and there's so many important just things to note in here. But yeah, this goes into how these men are handling life afterwards, and how they're just handling their trauma. It was beautifully written, and I enjoyed it, but like, it was also painful. It was hard to read. Like, it's a very hard thing to read, but it was also really well written, and it was a good read, and it absolutely freaking ripped my freaking heart out. It destroyed me. I've heard people say this book wrecked me. I did not understand it until this book. Like this one, I was like, oh, that's what that feels like. Because I mean, I was a mess. Like, I'm talking ugly, crying mess. Like, I couldn't even see through the tears to read the book. I had to put it down for a minute. It was bad. It was so bad. But yeah, this is really well written, and I think it was really clever the way she handled it. It was really clever the way that she wrote it, and it was really, I think she did a brilliant job. So yeah, I think I will maybe link my original review for this one down below as well, because I go into more detail about it. But just, it was really good. Really good, and definitely it'll get you. I feel like, I mean, it felt personal. It did. It felt very, like, I felt so bad I felt so strongly for the characters in this. But yeah, it got me. So I'm really curious. Let me know down in the comments if you know of any other books that could get to me, that could make me feel as deeply as these ones did. I'm always up for a challenge. Let me know. Also, I'm sorry this video took me longer than it was supposed to. I had it filmed and then realized I didn't like it. It wasn't good enough for y'all. So I refilmed it, because I'm not going to put something out there that I'm not proud of. So I wanted to make it right for y'all. Anyways, I will see you on Friday. I don't know what I'm putting out yet. I haven't decided, because my schedule's all out of whack, and I'm really struggling to keep with my normal schedule because of my work, and I'm having a hard time with everything. I'm not complaining. I'm really happy with work and everything. I just got to figure out my rhythm. You know what I mean? I will get there though. I promise I'll get there if y'all will just bear with me. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm really happy. I'm doing really well, and I'm really excited to have a job. I'm very grateful to have a job. I just have to figure out how to navigate everything, but I'll get there. So if y'all have any suggestions for how to tackle all this stuff, let me know, because I am really excited. I love YouTube. I love doing what I'm doing on YouTube. I love making content. This is not an obligation for me. This is a hobby, and this is not something that I feel obligated to do. It's not something I feel like I have to do. something I want to do, and I love doing it. So I don't want to give it up, and I don't want to have to I don't want to post less, because it's almost like therapy for me to sit here and talk to y'all. I love doing it. So if y'all have any suggestions for how to work all that in with my work schedule and kids, and like trying to manage a social life and all these things, let me know. I'm very curious. Anyhow, I will talk to y'all on Friday. Bye for now.